boys and girls, I am Miss Crystal Lit and I am the musician for today. So I have a song that we're going to be singing on hurricanes. I want you to try to learn the words with me as I teach them, and then I want you to try to sing them back to me, okay? Alright, be paying attention to my wand here because it's going to be directing you as I sing. Because I love music, and if you're in my class, then you know that we experiment with songs all of the time. So, we have a simple little presentation here on hurricanes, and I want you to try your best to learn some of the words. And while you're learning the words, you'll be surprised that you'll be able to learn about hurricanes in the process. You ready? Hey boys and girls, gather and see. Hurricanes do occur naturally. Categories 1 to 5 with different names. Each one is different, but the pattern's the same. Hurricanes, hurricanes, hurricanes. A natural phenomenon we can't explain. Hurricanes, hurricanes, hurricanes. A natural phenomenon we can't explain.
Hello. You're watching MES Channel 1 News Team. I'm Casey Logan.
And I am Kathy Vaughn, and today we're going to be covering hurricanes.
Now let's look at what Miss Johansson and Miss Randall have going on with the weather.
Hurricane is a powerful storm system with large low pressure middle section that produces intense wind and heavy rainfall. Other terms for hurricane include cyclone, typhoon, and tropical storm. Hurricanes develop over warm water and use it as an energy source. The winds around the eye of a hurricane are usually the strongest. The weather in the eye of a hurricane is usually calm. As well as violent winds and heavy rainfall, hurricanes also create tornadoes, high waves, and widespread rainfall. Hurricanes lose strength as they move over land. 40% of all hurricanes that hit the United States hit Florida. Hurricanes are classified into 5 categories 1 through 5 based on their wind speed and potential to cause damage. In the Atlantic, hurricane season starts June 1st, while in the Pacific, they start on May 15th. Both end on November the 30th. Hurricane names are chosen from a list each year. The very first hurricane of the year will start with the letter A, then the next B, and so on. Often when an unusually destructive hurricane hits, the hurricane's name is retired and never used again. Since 1954, 40 names have been retired. Woo, this wind is getting strong! Woo!
Miss Johansson and Miss Randall, they're okay. The wind didn't blow them away.
Now let's find out how to properly prepare for a hurricane with Miss Thompson.
One of the things that you need to be ready for a hurricane is called a hurricane preparedness kit. These are some things that you need to get together and keep in a bag so that you have them and know exactly where they are should we have a hurricane. Being from the coast where I grew up, we always had one of these. In fact, I still keep one packed for my daddy. So here are some things that you need to include in your kit. You need to make sure you have water in your kit so that you have something to drink. The electricity may go off and you won't have lights, or you won't have ways to keep juice or anything like that cold. So you'll need clean water. You'll also need to make sure that you have lots of batteries. If the electricity goes off, the things that you have that work off electricity will not work, such as a clock. This clock right here is also a radio. So you'll want to make sure that you have a radio so that you can hear the weatherman telling you what is going on. My clock radio here works 2 ways. It works on a cord, but it also works on batteries, and it's really cool because it has a rechargeable battery that's constantly recharging while it is plugged up. You're going to need that radio so you can make sure that you keep up with what's going on. You want to make sure that you have a first aid kit in your hurricane preparedness kit so that if anyone has an accident, you quickly have access to something to help them get better. Make sure that you have sanitation wipes in your preparedness kit. This means things to help you clean up and also to kill germs. so that you can wipe your hands, you can wipe your wound if you get hurt, things that will kill germs. Make sure that you have non-perishable food items. Non-perishable food items. That means foods that won't go bad without the refrigerator, because if the electricity goes off, you won't have a refrigerator. So make sure that you have non-perishable food items. Make sure that you have your cell phone and charger, just in case you get electricity, so that you can keep up with what's going on. That will make up a very helpful kit that you will use a lot if we have a hurricane. It's good to keep it all together in a bag called your hurricane preparedness kit. Thanks, guys. See you next time.
So let's go hear Freddie the Frogcaster's story about this huge hurricane from Miss Maffy.
Freddie and the huge hurricane. Summer break, Freddie cheered as the last school bell rang. What's your forecast for summer vacation, Freddie? Gil Flipper asked. Pond diving, frog surfing, and lots of weather watching, Freddie answered. With no school, Freddie also had time to spend at the Frog News Network. First thing the next morning, Freddie was outside, checking weather clues. Light wind, low humidity, and clear blue skies. Perfect beach weather, Freddie said. I hope it stays like this for the trip to the shore next week. Meanwhile, Freddie had plenty to keep him busy. He headed back to the house for breakfast and chores. Then Freddie was off to help Sally Croker and Polly Waggins at the Frog News Network. Sally welcomed Freddie with big news. It's time for you to learn how to report the weather, she said. You mean on TV? Freddie asked in a shaky voice. Weather watching was one thing, but talking in front of a camera? That was a different story. Well, this is a television weather studio, Sally playfully reminded him. Maybe later, Sally. I'm on the lookout for hurricanes right now, Freddie said as he studied the latest satellite image. Uh-oh, Freddie pointed at a big swirl of clouds out in the ocean. Is this what I think it is? Let's check it out. Sally pulled up the tropical weather website. You're right, Freddie. Hurricane hunters are investigating that cluster of storms. Polly Waggins looked at Sally's screen. Wind speeds are 39 miles per hour. This is the first tropical storm of the season. And look, Freddie said, it's named Andrea. The next day, Tropical Storm Andrea was getting stronger and moving closer to land. Look at the path of the storm, Freddie noticed. It's heading our way. Polly read the weather report. Wind speeds up to 74 miles per hour, and the barometric pressure is dropping. That's a sure sign the storm is getting stronger. This isn't a tropical storm anymore. Andrea is now a hurricane. It's time to warn everybody. Sally hopped into action and went live with a Frog News alert. A hurricane is making its way toward Lily Pad. We need to get ready and be safe. Freddie hurried home to help his family. Along the way, he noticed that Lily Pad was getting good at preparing for bad weather. After all, they had lots of practice. First, it was thunderstorm. Then there was the big blizzard. Now a hurricane? Looks like the whole town is ready, Freddie, Mrs. Flyswatter called out. My hardware store is sold out of plywood and flashlights. You're just in time to help, Freddie's dad said. We're already put the lawn furniture away. The last thing we need is a lawn chair rocking, flying around in a hurricane winds, Freddie's mom explained, before heading off to the grocery store for supplies. While his dad finished securing the windows, Freddie got busy putting together their hurricane emergency kit. The next morning, Hurricane Andrea was right on track. Winds were getting stronger. Dark clouds were rolling in. The barometric pressure was dropping even more. This huge hurricane was on the way. Inside the news station, everyone had a job to do. Polly was going to broadcast live from outside. Sally would stay inside and report on the hurricane's path, radar, and satellite images. What about me? Asked Freddie. Freddie's job was to watch the latest bulletins from the Hurricane Center and help update the weather graphics. Across town at the Frogatorium, the mayor was greeting families looking for safe places to live, to stay. Welcome to the strongest building in Lily Pad. When he saw Freddie's parents, the mayor winked. I hear Freddie's on the job. I know he won't let us down. As Polly was outside reporting, a big gust of wind swept her off her webbed feet. This is Polly Waggins, live outside the Frog News headquarters. Hurricane Andrea has arrived and whoosh! In an instant, she was soaking wet. She hung onto the nearby signpost to steady herself. Yikes, she yelled. No frog should be out in this. After a while, it got really quiet outside. The wind died down and the rain tapered off. Phew! It's not so bad now, Polly reported. Polly had been out there long enough, Sally said with concern. The eye of the storm is passing over Lily Pad now, and the backside of the hurricane will hit in full force soon. I have to get her inside now. But someone has to give this weather update on TV to warn all the frogs, Freddie suggested. You're right, Sally said and handed him the microphone. It's time to do your first frog news alert, Freddie. The words on air started flashing, but Freddie got the chance to get scared. He stood up tall and looked right into the camera. Then he did what he had seen Sally and Polly do so many times before. This is Freddie, the frogcaster with breaking weather news, he said, and pointed to the satellite image behind him. This is Hurricane Andrea. The eye of the storm is right over Lily Pad. It may be calm and quiet now, but don't be fooled. The hurricane isn't over yet. Freddie cleared his throat. Everyone needs to stay inside and be prepared! Freddie's friends and family shouted. They were watching him on TV at the Frogatorium. Go, Freddie! They cheered as their favorite young broadcaster made his television debut. Freddie's parents were smiling proudly when the mayor hopped over. Freddie saves the day again. The mayor had more to say, but whoosh! The wind howled and the rain started pounding again. The hurricane was back, just like Freddie predicted. Lily Pad was a mess the next morning. Trees were down, cars were flipped over, plenty of roofs needed repair, but all that couldn't be fixed. The good news was everyone was safe. Freddie was so happy to see his parents. The mayor was with them, and so was his friend Gil. Freddie, Lily Pad, can't thank you enough, the mayor said, shaking Freddie's hand. Yes, congratulations on your first TV report, Gil exclaimed. By the way, Freddie, this is for you. The mayor reached behind Gil's back and pulled out a long, flat package. It was tied with a big red bow. A frog board for our beach trip, Freddie said with delight, and so far the weather looked totally awesome for surfing. This is Julie Mahaffey reporting live at Morton Elementary Center.
Thanks, Miss Mahaffey, for the reading of a book on hurricanes. Let's go over to Miss O'Kane and Miss Renee to learn about Camille and Katrina.
So Hurricane Camille was in 1969, which was the year I was born, by the way. It was a month before I was born in August 17th, and it made landfall near Waveland, and it was a Category 5. And there were 256 deaths reported. Now, a lot of the information from Camille was washed away, and it wasn't digitalized like it is today. So, some of that information is missing. And you can see the path that it took coming through the Gulf of Mexico and going off the coast of England. So these are just some pictures. You can see boats on land, cars on top of fences and trees, and buildings gone, and there is a boat that's behind a tree. Clearly not where boats go. So Hurricane Katrina was years later in 2005, also in August 29th, and I was 36 then. How old were you?
20.
20, so that was a few years ago. And so it made landfall in Louisiana and came into Mississippi, but it was right there close to Waveland also. And it was a Category 5 with winds up to 175 miles per hour, with 1,833 deaths. A lot of that was due to water surges. through the floods and things. And you can see the path was a little bit closer to Texas when it came in, but and it swung around. But still, you have the pictures of rubbish, just things piled up on top of each other, trees, cars, buildings. This is Waveland, and it was flat. There was nothing left there. I drove through there. This is a bridge near Bay St. Louis. And this is the two pictures of the hurricanes, and you can see Hurricane Katrina was bigger, but Hurricane Camille was more dense.
Now turning it over to Miss Porter on her take on adjectives.
Thank you, Casey. We're talking about hurricanes, and we have category 1 through 5 hurricanes. You have category 1 hurricanes, which is 74 miles to 95 miles per hour, which will usually produce minor damage, including to trees and power lines. Category 2, winds 96 to 110 miles per hour that can result in extensive damage, uprooting trees, breaking windows, and snapping power lines. Category 3, you have 111 miles per hour to 130 miles per hour that can lead to devastating damage to homes and trees and loss of power and water. Category 4, the winds are 130 to 155 miles per hour that lead to catastrophic damage to homes with winds strong enough to tear off roofs and walls. Category 5 is winds that are greater than 155 miles per hour, which can result in leveled homes, fallen trees, down power lines, potentially leading to month-long outages and devastated communities. These are words that would describe hurricanes. You have strong winds, you have tides. The wind sounds are howling sounds. It starts in June. There's lightning, destruction, there's waves. And when you write, you could write a weather report and you decide what category you're going to write about. Back to you, Casey.
Remember the new adjectives that you learned today. The next time you hear about a hurricane, you can describe it.
It's time to take a little comedian break with Miss Pitman and Miss Tamaya.
Let's get going, Tamaya.
Hey, Miss Pitman, what do you call a male hurricane?
I don't know, Tamaya. What you call a male hurricane?
A hurricane. What did the hurricane say to the palm tree?
I have no idea. What did it say?
Hang on to your leaves. This will be no ordinary breeze. What is a tropical storm's favorite song?
I don't know, Tamaya. What is it?
Rock You Like a Hurricane. How do hurricanes see?
I don't know. Tell me, how do hurricanes see?
Well, they only have one eye, so I guess they see with the eye.
Go and try those jokes on your mom and dad.
Let's go over to Miss Robinson on her reports on the cost of hurricane damage.
Now, these hurricanes did impact Mississippi and other states as well. So these are in billions of dollars. So Hurricane Camille, which hit in 1969, the damage from it was a little over $1 million. Hurricane George, which hit in 1998, was a little over $2 billion, excuse me. Now, Hurricane Katrina, which hit in 2005, was the costliest ever in history, and it caused, the damage from it was $125 billion. Now, Hurricane Frederick, which hit in 1979, was a little over, close to $2 billion there.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson, for that information on the cost of hurricanes. We will never forget Katrina in 2005.
Going over to Miss Tracy with an art lesson.
This is a hurricane that shows how strong the winds are. You'll see a weather map like that. Red and purple would be strongest, and then green and yellow would be less strong. So every hurricane has an eye, and you can use a bottle top or a coin, and since the center of the hurricane is the strongest, I'm just going to go around that with some purple because that's the strongest, and then a little bit less strong but still super strong, and we're going to go around it with red,
hurricanes always go the same direction. So then we're going to come in with a little bit of purple, because you're going to have some really strong in there with that red. And you'll notice it goes kind of to one side, and that's because that's the way hurricanes are. They're really strong on one side and not so strong on the other, and there might not even be anything at all on this side. And then a little bit of yellow at the edge. And I have a soft paintbrush. But if you don't have a soft paintbrush, you can use Mom's makeup brush, as long as it's okay with her. Or you could use a piece of paper towel. And if you'll look, it kind of just smears all that together, so it looks more like paint. And you're just going to go around and around, but not in the eye, because we never put paint in our eye because that hurts. And just like with us, hurricanes are like that. And so when you're finished, you're going to have a watercolor hurricane.
Thank you, Miss Tracy. Now let's all go and try to draw a hurricane.
Let's go over to Miss Lindsay and Miss Emily for a vocabulary lesson.
These words have to do with hurricanes. Flood, a large amount of water on land.
I, the calm center of the hurricane.
Storm surge, deep wall of water that causes a flood.
Hurricane, a huge storm with spiraling winds that starts in the ocean.
Thank you, Miss Lindsay and Miss Emily, for those vocabulary terms.
Now let's go to Regina Biggers to find out the difference between hurricanes and tornadoes.
So both are very scary. Both can cause a lot of damage. Both also have swirling winds. However, tornadoes typically form off of the edges of hurricanes or other tropical storms. Hurricanes are typically much larger. And so hurricanes typically are somewhere around 10 miles high and can be from 300 to 600 miles wide. Whereas tornadoes are much smaller. They can be anywhere from 500 feet to much larger. The spinning winds of both of those storms can also differ some. For a tornado spins much faster. It can be anywhere between 200 to 300 miles per hour. Hurricanes travel a little slower. The outer winds of hurricanes is usually somewhere around 40 miles per hour. The middle winds are somewhere around 74 miles per hour, and the outer winds are somewhere between 120 to 150 miles per hour. Tornadoes also typically act as a vacuum, and they suck up and destroy everything in their path. Hurricanes, while they cause a lot of damage, don't cause the same type of vacuum damage. So both of them can be very scary. Many of us have experienced tornadoes more than tropical storms or hurricanes, but we need to be prepared and ready for either one. Thank you, and back to you, Miss Casey and Miss Vaughn.
Wow, Dr. Biggers is so smart. I'm so glad she cleared that up between hurricane and a tornado for me.
Going over now to Miss Sherry and Miss Annette with their very own experiment.
We want to try to do an experiment of a hurricane in a bottle. And we have 2 bottles that we have duct taped together with water to about the top, but not quite all the way. And in the water you put just a little bit of oil and your choice of food color. And so Miss Annette's going to shake this up and see if we can make this hurricane happen in this bottle.
The clue is, or the hint is just 1 drop or 2 of food color, and too much you can't see the hurricane. I've done that. Anyway, we're going to shake it up. Shake it real hard.
Fingers.
Real hard. Come on, come on.
It's bubbling and churning.
Oh, it did it for just a second.
And I mean, yeah.
You could go and try this experiment outside with 2 water bottles. Make sure you're outside though. Stay hurricane aware at MES on Channel 1.
Again, this has been your Channel 1 News Team. I'm Casey Logan.
And I am Kathy Barnes, signing off.
Thanks for stopping by.
I love you. We miss you. And I'm so glad I got to have you all this year. Bye.